All right, let's get started. We'll let the stragglers come in when they do. So we are going to continue on these kind of these blueprint points. There's a wonderful consistency of agents that are just crushing it across the country. And there's a consistency in their actions and their attitudes and in how they run their business. And so this is a combination of points that have been aggregated over all of these agents on how they continue to grow their business. So let's continue on last week's points. And the next point is this. This is coming from Brianne Green, who's an incredible, let me just let in Sean. I don't have Danielle today, so I'm going to be the admin and the leader of the call. So this is a point from Brianne Green. She sells a few hundred homes in Oklahoma City. And the point is this: writing and visualizing my goals daily and matching that to what I've achieved to date so I can continue growing and not to become complacent. So writing and visualizing goals daily and matching that to what I've actually achieved to date. So first of all, do you have goals? That's number one. For those of you that are at our Thrive or Die event a couple of weeks ago, Ricky Mendez was on the stage and he was talking about goals, right? He went on the room and asked people if they had goals, and people stood up. And how many people have them written down? And a few more people sat down, but if you were standing, and how many have looked at them today? And he ended up finding 2 people in the room. There's about a little over 100 people in the room. 2 people in the room actually had written goals. And he said, review them for 5 minutes a day. So there's something extraordinarily powerful by not just having a goal, but writing it down and reviewing it. It really ties you down, and it ties your conscious and subconscious and the universe down into helping to make that happen. So Brianne's point is writing down, number one, and visualizing the goals, taking a few minutes and really putting some emotion behind it. You know, do you have the goal? Do you believe the goal? Can you actually see that happening? And really saying, well, anyway, it just, sorry, I'll tell this guy. It's really the only way to continue to push yourself forward. Those goals are absolutely what inspires us to move our business forward. So do you have them? Do you have them written down? Are you reviewing them? Next point. Next point is about delegation. Hire a great assistant and delegate everything that is non-income producing. I don't do enough business. I can't afford an assistant, right? That's what some people are thinking. Yes, you can. So this whole point about delegation is so valuable, so important. And really what it comes to is there are certain activities that are income producing, right, guys? And there are certain activities that are income servicing. And there are certain activities that are just a total waste of time, right? Income producing activities, prospecting, lead follow-up, going on appointments, negotiating contracts. Those are all income producing activities. They lead to income. Then there's income servicing activities, right? Before this call, I was on the phone with a client, right? Returning calls to clients and just helping them understand that they need to reduce the price or what's going on in the market, or, you know, doing paperwork. These are all income servicing activities. They don't actually create income. You're servicing income, working in escrow, you know, sending out emails according to that, sending out things to get signed. It's all income servicing. And there's just kind of stuff that just is not either of the two. Jumping on social media, just screwing off and just like, you know, going blank for 30 minutes, like, wow, where'd that 30 minutes go? That's part of your schedule. It happens, right? Now, once you understand that these types of things, the point here is about delegating. Can you delegate your income producing activities? No. That's stuff that we get paid the big bucks for. We have to prospect. We have to do the lead follow-up. We have to go on appointments. We have to negotiate contracts, right? That's the income producing activities. Can we delegate income servicing activities? Yes. Can you delegate managing an escrow? Do you have to hire an assistant for that? No, you can hire a transaction coordinator. Even if you don't have the money to hire an assistant, full-time or part-time, can you hire a transaction coordinator? Absolutely. $400, $450 a transaction, whatever it is, delegate that. so that you can focus on income producing activities, right? So even if you can't afford, this point is about hiring an assistant. It's not just all or nothing, right? There's kind of mid-range steps between having no assistant and then hiring a full-time assistant. You can hire a transaction coordinator. You can hire a part-time assistant. You can share an assistant with 2 or 3 other agents, right? I mean, there's all kinds of options with regard to delegation. The key point is delegate. Delegate those things that are not going to serve you in growing your business at a high level, right? Even the stuff that's like social media, going through all these emails that are unimportant, that can be delegated too. You can just delegate it into a time block of your day that's not going to impact you negatively, right? I'm just going to delegate that to the trash. I'm going to delegate that to something I do between, later in the day when it's not important. Next point, consistently upgrade all of your systems, which allows you to continue to grow. Consistently upgrade all of your systems. Now, you might think systems is just like, oh, my CRM, that's a system. Everything's a system, right? Consistently upgrade all of your systems. What is your system for prospecting? It doesn't have to be a system that you pay for. It could be a system that you personally have. I'm going to upgrade my prospecting system. I'm going to upgrade the quality of my prospecting. I'm going to upgrade the quantity of my prospecting. I'm going to upgrade the fact that I'm going to start on time and end on time. I'm going to upgrade the level of intensity that I bring to my top prospecting. That is an upgrade of your prospecting system, right? It doesn't mean I'm going to upgrade my, system that I use to blast out an email to my database. That's another system. Oh, instead of paying $39 a month, I'm going to get a better system. It's going to cost me $89 a month. No, that doesn't always have to cost money. You can upgrade all kinds of systems. You can upgrade your presentation system, the way you dress, the way you show up. You have to spend $1,000 on a new shirt and what? No, you can. Let me just let this person in. You can upgrade your presentation system by, doing your hair nicer and, wearing a shirt or a tie, or, for ladies, doing your makeup in a certain, you can upgrade that presentation system. It doesn't take a lot of money. It just takes some effort. You can update your role-playing practice system. You can upgrade your health regimen, your eating system, your working out system. You can upgrade your system around following a schedule. You can upgrade your education system. You can upgrade systems without spending money, just by deciding to do that. Now, you can also look at your systems and do upgrades. Like, for instance, how do you manage your database? Do you have a CRM? Do you use it, right? If you already have a CRM, are you using it to its fullest? Doesn't mean you got to get a new one. Maybe you can just upgrade the usage of that system. So this point is super relevant, but it can mean so many things to our business in so many ways. Constantly upgrade all of my systems, which allows me to continue to grow. So think about it for a minute. What do you need to upgrade? What do you need to upgrade? Do you need to upgrade your mindset? Do you need to upgrade your sleep patterns? Maybe you're not sleeping enough. Do you need to upgrade your mindset? Maybe eliminate some news or social media or something else? What system in your life do you need to upgrade? Your social system. Maybe I need to do a better job communicating with my spouse, with my kids, whatever. What do you need to upgrade that is going to have a positive influence, a positive impact on your business, on your life, that sort of thing. Next point, creating customers for life is the motto of, in this case, Brienne's company. Creating customers for life, that's her motto. We're looking for ways to give the Ritz-Carlton feel to our clients. So what she's looking to do is really not just be one and done, have a customer, sell them a house. She understands the value of having a customer for life, the repeat and referral business that comes again and again and again from these great customers that we help. And she calls that Ritz-Carlton level service. So what would that look like if you wanted to upgrade your service? We all deal with clients. You know, if you don't have any listings, if you don't have any escrows, you're dealing with clients, you're dealing with prospects, you're dealing with your center of influence. Like, these are all potential clients. What would it look like to give them Ritz-Carlton level service? Are you doing it now? And if not, what would it look like? Or if you're giving great service, how could you make it better? What is Ritz-Carlton level service? Do you guys have any ideas on what Ritz-Carlton level service would be kind of in our business, in the real estate business? What would that look like? Go ahead, Mark.
Having actually worked at the Ritz-Carlton in New York City for a few years, one of the things that impressed me was there was a customer guest, she was the customer guest service person, liaison. And she knew with every guest that came in, every regular guest, there was a lot of regulars for a reason. She knew exactly what made them happy. Either it was a certain flowers or it was a certain type of wine or champagne that had chilled in the room waiting for them. She knew. So we can, I mean, even at this point, it seems like, okay, now it's getting in the times we're in the market we're in, now it's maybe time to get a little granular in terms of what that white glove touch might be for each particular client. So I think looking at the case to case is my point. As a high level view, looking at the case to case and what would be that personal touch for them. So personal touch is what I'm saying. Yeah.
So personal touch. And then, excellent. That's a perfect point. Now, what would that mean in the real estate business? So what would that mean in the real estate business? For instance, so maybe it's asking more questions, way more questions. Maybe it's answering their questions before they even knew they had the question. Is there a consistency for a recipient, a customer in a real estate transaction, a buyer or seller? Are there a similar group of questions that they all have? Like, okay, what happens next? What does this mean? How about maybe creating Ritz-Carlton level service by answering questions before they have the questions, before they even knew they had the questions? Hey, Mark, let me tell you what's happening next. Let me tell you what's upcoming this week. Let me tell you what to expect. This is what some people have questions about, so let me just share with you what's upcoming so that you don't feel lost along the way, right? Or if they're buying, imagine a buyer, a first-time buyer. Do you think they have questions? My goodness, they have no idea. I remember when I bought my first home, I didn't know what was going on. I was just flying by the seat of my pants. I was trying to figure it out. There's questions. My goodness, a level of communication from an agent saying, hey, this is what's upcoming next. Do you have any questions for me? It's like, no, I think you've answered it all. That's great. Thank you so much. So answering questions before they even know they have them. The other thing is that Mark had mentioned is really this kind of white glove service, because people do bring certain nuances to a transaction. I think I got this from Kyle Whistle, or maybe it was Dan Beer. When their team goes on showing appointments, they have a little coloring book. And if they know they're showing with kids, they have a little coloring book, and they'll bring the coloring book and give it to the kids. Hey, why don't you, here's some crayons and a color. It's like a Berenstain Bears, like, we're moving kind of a book. It's specifically for moving. And the parents are like, oh my God, that was so thoughtful. Like, hey, we're gonna go look at the house. Here, kids, you can go and do some coloring while we're here. Just have a seat at the table. And it's such a thoughtful thing for the kids. Bless you. How about if you're calling up the client and saying, listen, before we meet for the showing appointment, I'm going to be swinging by Starbucks to pick up something for myself. What can I get for you? What would you like? How's that for service? You show up with a Starbucks for them. It's not like you have to do that at every showing, but it's such a wonderful, like, wow, I can't believe Mark actually did that. What a sweet guy. That's the kind of thing. It's like just a whole different level of service. It's so meaningful for people. But I think probably the biggest thing, if you want to really start that level of service immediately, it's going to be higher levels of communication, more questions, and then future pacing what is to come so that you can answer questions before they ask. Really, in a perfect world, our clients should never have to call us if they're getting Ritz-Carlton level service. We're future pacing and anticipating everything they have. I failed in that just now. I just got a call from a client whose property is not selling and she's upset. I should have called her first. I should be on top of that. I take full responsibility. Next point, pay close attention to the sources of my business. That's what one major point that Brianne did to grow her business to a couple hundred deals per year. She pays very close attention to the sources of her business. Now, we've discussed this in the past, but let's discuss it again. What is the value of understanding and sourcing your business? Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to know where your business comes from? Sourcing your business is looking at your past 5, 10, 20 transactions, your past year. You know, what have you done in the past year? Where did the business actually come from? Where did the business actually come from? Why would you want to do that? What do you think, guys? Why would you want to pay close attention to where your business comes from?
I think because you could better target your marketing dollars if you're spending them.
Yeah, 100%. You could better target your marketing dollars. You can also better target your marketing effort, right? Time, effort,
And your time,
money.
for sure.
Yeah, 100%. So I'll give you a real scenario for me, at least. I built my whole business on calling expired listings. That's all I did. I just hammered those phones every single day, called expireds. Until I reached a point where I started sourcing my business at a later date because I knew that expireds was working for me. And then one year when I was doing my business plan, I sourced my business and I was calling I was probably spending 2 or 3 hours a day calling expireds. And I looked and I got like 4 deals the previous year from expired listings. And we got like 20 from another source and another 15 or whatever from another source. But like the 20 was like past clients, center of influence, referrals, like from past clients, like, whoa, like it was mind blowing because I was spending all this time prospecting a source that gave me the smallest percentage of my business. And I was spending no time prospecting the source that gave me my largest percentage of the business. So at that moment, I said, I got to reverse this. This doesn't make sense. I'm spending time, effort, energy, money on prospecting a source that is not giving me enough return. So I decided from that moment to change my efforts. Okay, I'm going to spend less time on expireds and more time on our past clients, more time on center of influence, more time on getting referrals. It's just a very obvious thing. So are you paying attention to the sources of your business? Have you ever taken a moment? Now, some agents on the call are brand new. You don't have any past clients, so you can't really source the business. But for those of us that have some business under our belt, go ahead and take a moment after this call and write down your past 5 or 10 or 20 transactions. Write them down and just determine where they came from. I think you're going to find a huge consistency in those sources. A huge consistency. Did they come from repeat and referral business? Are you getting a ton of referrals from your friends? Are you getting a ton of referrals from your past clients because you did such a great job for them? Are you getting referrals from some online system that you're purchasing leads from? Are you getting, are you crushing it with for sale by owners, or out of area homeowners? Whatever it is, if you actually source your business, do you guys, there's stuff coming at us all the time about the latest, magic bullet, right? Buy this system. I get texts. I got one this morning. Can you handle another 15 to 20 deals per month? It's like, what are you trying to sell me, right? There's no shortage of people trying to sell us stuff. And wouldn't it be great if we could just buy one of these things and get all kinds of business like immediately? Of course it would be. But is it really realistic So we'll spend our time, effort, and energy like chasing all these things. A lot of agents do. But what we should really be doing is saying, where's my business actually coming from? And can I do a better job? Can I double or triple or quadruple down on that source of business to really grow my business? So sourcing your business, I would definitely make a note of that and look at, where the business comes from. Dave, Bus, I'm curious. Oh, you're on the phone. Go for it. No, bad timing. I was going to say, I was curious where he gets his business from. He's primarily a lender. And so there's a certain degree of repeat and referral business that he gets. Next point. So Brianne is a great coaching client of the Mike Ferry organization. I'm a Mike Ferry coaching client as well, but she says constantly staying plugged into Mike Ferry organization through attending conferences, seminars, weekly mastermind groups, and daily role play. Now, this point, we can all get value from this point, whether you're in coaching or not. The point is staying plugged in, staying plugged in through attending a conference, attending a seminar, right? Thank you for those of you that showed up at our event on the 28th, about 10 days ago, right? Staying plugged into events like that. Staying plugged into calls like this, weekly mastermind calls. Staying plugged into, our Wednesday meetings. For those of you that are in our company, I know some people are not in the company, but those of you that are in the company, we have our Wednesday meetings. We show up and we share information on how to make your business better. For those of you that role play, staying plugged into maybe for those of you that are also in the company, the Monday call with the fast forward movement. Staying plugged into, reading great books, staying plugged into maybe a podcast that you love that really inspires you. But the point is participation. There has to be a constant, never-ending level of participation for business to improve. Otherwise, we're just kind of like where we're at right now in our life, in our business. Like we'll probably maintain right here if we never have any new positive influence coming in on us, right? But if you want to do something big and do something bold, and if you want to grow in any sort of way, it's going to take some outside influence and take some action on that. So are you participating? Are you participating? And can you increase your participation?
Sorry, Aaron, I know you had a question for me there. I was waiting on that call. I had to deal with it.
I was actually curious to know, let me go back to the point. We were talking about sourcing our business. So I would imagine you pay attention to sourcing your business. Where does most of your business come from? Is it coming from refis? Is it coming from past clients? It's coming from agents? Where does your mortgage business come from?
It's referrals from past clients. I mean, they are really the key. And to the younger agents, I would really encourage you to be sure you are asking for referrals. And what I mean by that, when you reach out and touch people 6 months, a year, 2 years after and you should be calling them every 6 months, a year, 2 years at least. And, don't be afraid to say, hey, if you're happy with the job I did, please make sure that you're sharing your experience with your sphere of influence. That's how you grow your business this way, not this way.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to grow it going in an outward way, not just straight up and down.
So you actually recognize that your referrals from your past clients, your sphere of influence, is your largest source of business. And so you actually created a bit of a business plan around that to get more business from them, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
and like I said, but you can't be afraid or feel like you're bothering people. You have to ask them. And sometimes you will bother people. But the costs, 22 years of experience would tell me that the costs way outweigh the benefits.
Yeah. So there's regular conversation. Now, because of that, the plan that you've created is, I know you do an in-person event at your, you do like that barbecue at your house where you invite people to your house.
Sure.
Right. And you always get business from that several times a year. So there's in-person activities that you do with your people, your database. Mm-hmm. You're constantly on the phone, reminding them how to refer business to you and asking for business. Is there anything else that comes into that plan? Or are those the main things?
This even goes back to when I was a single guy, 20 years ago. I used to, a buddy of mine up in the Valley and I used to put together like just a singles thing at a bar every Thursday night, just to bring other professional singles together and attempt to grow our business. And it was, of course, I had some experience at that time in the alcohol business. So I was able to walk into a bar and talk to the owner and say, hey, what if I brought 60 people in here Thursday night? Would you give us a discount? Would you give us a room? And of course, every time they'd say yes. And you could bring together, a decent sized group of people to network. And that network actually was, kind of a lifeblood when I first got into the mortgage and real estate business. I mean, having that network of young professional earning people was a fantastic thing for me. And it took a little extra effort and it was a little bit outside the box, but it absolutely, I became like the mortgage guy realtor that was in that group, right? And that doesn't mean you can't invite other realtors, into the group, but it's, often a good time, if I was going to do that now, I mean, I love you, Aaron, you're the last person I'd invite, right? Because you're a competition in that scenario. So, you want to surround yourself with, with people that can do business with you that may not be competition, shall we say.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, this is all about just creating your database of people, bringing them together and providing excellent service. Goes back to the earlier point, Ritz-Carlton level service with the people that are important to you in your life, and just be consistently kind of loving on them, giving them value, giving them support, giving them encouragement, answering questions, being a resource, in other words.
I don't have a favorite client that I talk to that I don't reference as my favorite client when we speak. Just so, whatever. I mean, yeah, you can say I'm full of shit, but it works.
Well, I don't think you're full of shit, because there is a genuine appreciation for these people, right? I mean, you genuinely, these people are it's a very symbiotic relationship. You're helping each other. You're providing wonderful value for each other. So I think that's terrific. All right, so let's make this the last point of the day. This is actually kind of this is all about specifically about attending events. Attending events flipped a positive switch for me. It was a life-changing experience. So the thing about events are this: Tony Robbins said something really, really cool, and it was about transformation. And he said he wanted to define what transformation is. And he said transformation is when the impossible becomes possible. And it happens like that. When the impossible becomes possible. It's like you didn't think you could do something yesterday, and all of a sudden something happens, and it's like, wait a second, I can actually do that. There's a transformation that just happened, right? When the impossible becomes possible. When you can't ride a bike, and then you can ride a bike. If you guys remember learning how to ride a bike, and it just clicked all of a sudden, the impossible became possible like that in an instant. It's like, oh, I got it. And transformation happens, it is more likely to happen at an event. So one thing that I would encourage everybody to do is always be looking at and going to events. The events that I go to, Mike Ferry events, I go to, a lot of these EXP events that occur. There's one happening in Dallas actually in 13 days that Tony Robbins is going to be speaking at. So for those of you that want to really get out of the bubble here and go to a transformational event, just go to, what is it? It's called the build. Well, let me pull it up. Build22.com. Let's see.
I think it's
build event. Yeah. So buildevent22.com. You don't have to be an EXP agent for that. You can be in any brokerage. That is going to be an EXP sponsored event, but Tony Robbins is going to be speaking at that event on the last day. So it's in Dallas, Texas, in 2 weeks. So, but you don't have to go to it. That's just one of many events. I have never, ever been to an event. It could be a 3-hour seminar at the Torrance Marriott where they have a speaker coming in about something, whatever. I have never not been to an event that I didn't get value from. There's always value. There's always something that's like, God, I'm so glad I went to that. And you never know where the big value is going to come. You never, ever know. So be the type of people that say yes to things. right? If you see something coming up and you can make it work and I can spend a few hours and I can go to that event and it's inexpensive or it's free or whatever, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to try it. I think I have something to learn here. It's incredible. Big decisions are made at big events. Transformation happens, and it's because you're putting yourself in an environment to really to learn, to grow. So I'm always a big event person, and I 1,000,000% recommend, putting yourself out there, participate in a way that you haven't in the past. You will learn so much. All right, let's open up the mics. Does anybody have any challenges they're going through in their business they want to bring up to the group that we can probably solve together? Because if you're feeling it, many people are feeling it. Anything at all that we want to discuss?
I feel like I'm talking too much, Aaron, but I had
Go for it.
something come up yesterday that,
Yeah.
and it's actually more of a solution than a problem.
Great.
I have these two clients that, and I don't know if anybody else is having the problem where people are kind of running scared of the new interest rate environment. In terms of, potential buyers sitting on the sidelines saying, well, I'm going to wait till interest rates come down.
Mm-hmm.
But I did a little math problem with a young man yesterday and said, okay, basically, look, you're looking to spend $2 million. Okay, that's a $1.6 million loan. Difference in payment between 3.5% and 5%. And this is math that most of you don't deal with because you're not on the mortgage end. But the difference in payment on that is $1,500 a month, just roughly. And I said, so it's $18,000 a year. And rates will come back down at some point in the next 5 years. So worst case scenario, over the course of 5 years, you spend $92,000, $94,000 more dollars on the mortgage before you could get to a lower rate.
Yep.
But that's still better on a $2 million purchase than having to bid 10% higher, which is $2.2 million, which is what you would end up paying for the property. So there's it's still, as you said many times in the last 4 months on this call, it's not a bad time to buy. It's just you have to change their mindset and make them feel like, hey, they're smarter than the market. And you're right, Dave. I can afford an extra $1,500 a month. And oh, by the way, if you end up bidding $2.2 million on a $2 million property, the extra $200,000 that you're bidding has to come basically at closing with your down payment. You can't borrow that money, for those of you that don't know. You can only borrow really up to the appraised value of the property, which is going to be 95% of the time the purchase price.
Yeah.
So you're also losing out on the opportunity cost of that $200,000 that's leaving your bank account and going now into your purchase of the house. So there's a lot more that goes into it for you young folks. I mean, if you want to put people in contact with me, I'll talk them into buying, because it's not a bad time, because now is the time where they can get in to a property.
Yeah. Dave, can you put your contact information in the chat right now if people want to just copy it?
But now's the time where you can get into a property without 46 offers at 10% over asking.
Yep.
And that's a selling point, and a very valid one. And say, look, and I get it, like your payment's going to be higher for a period of time, but you're not going to be stuck in that payment forever. Rates come down. And when they do, you can always refinance your mortgage. God bless. I love when people refinance their mortgage, because that's how I make money and on the mortgage side. But it's really not a bad time to buy. It's just you have to change the mindset, and you can change their mindset with hard numbers.
Yeah, great point. It's interesting what people tend to fixate on, right? They tend to fixate on certain things. They could be fixated on, oh my God, the rates are so high. Prices have come down by 15%. Like are rates going to stay high forever? I mean, maybe they'll get higher, maybe they'll get lower. You can refi out of it. But my goodness, you lock in a price right now? You think prices aren't going to go up 3, 5, 10 years from now? I mean, again, that goes back to the Ritz-Carlton level service. I mean, really taking the time to invest in a conversation and ask great questions. What are their concerns? What are they thinking about? And really to dig deeper and deeper and deeper so that you can actually help them with this selling situation. I think Dave just displayed that.
And that's another excellent point, Aaron, is if we've seen here in the beach cities, I mean, prices are down I mean, slightly. I mean, depending, property for property, I've seen some that are still, wildly high. But you have to ask these folks that are sitting on the sidelines, what do you think is going to happen to values when rates go back into the threes in a year, 2, 3? The train's going to start moving down the tracks again very fast. And at that point, you may be looking at spending 2.5, 2.8 million on this same property at 2 you're looking at now.
Yeah. Great point. Yeah, I actually think it's a fantastic time to buy. I really do. So, okay, great, guys. Anybody else that has any issues that they want to bring up? Any questions, any challenges, any places where you feel like you have a kind of a loss of power in your business that we can address? All right, good stuff, guys. Thank you, everyone, for your participation, and have a wonderful, wonderful week. And I look forward to chatting with you in 1 week from today. Have a great one. Take care.